Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is attempting a breakout above this important area of resistance, at least here in the short term, as major liquidity is building just above the price of Bitcoin, pointing towards a possible short squeeze, which we have seen recently in the past, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside Ethereum still bouncing around between important support and resistance, while the price of Solana is now confirming a new signal in the short term that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and currently the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, the weekly Bitcoin MACD is still showing a slowdown in the bullish momentum. So we're not at a bearish crossover yet, but once again, losing some bullish momentum, at least for now. And so obviously not a lot has changed on this chart over the last one day. And the same can be said about this weekly Bitcoin chart. Obviously, we still have a potential bearish divergence to watch out for on the weekly time frame, with higher highs in the price and lower highs in the RSI, but overall not a lot has changed over the last one day. Technically speaking, we still have some small confirmation signals confirming the bearish divergence, but if we see a pump above these previous highs here, that could at least temporarily invalidate the bearish divergence. But of course, if the RSI is still forming lower highs, would potentially just reconfirm a new bearish divergence later on. And so overall, nothing really on the weekly time frame has changed over the last one day. So getting straight into the 3-day time frame, and of course, as I mentioned in my last video just yesterday, we were starting to see a possible bearish crossover in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, but with the latest short-term bounce just over the last one day in the price of Bitcoin, we're now potentially avoiding the bearish crossover in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, because obviously, as I said in my last video, we need to see some sort of short-term bullish move very soon in order to possibly avoid that bearish crossover, because that was just a signal that was flashing on the chart, as I said yesterday, but not technically confirmed. And so in order to actually confirm a bearish crossover in this indicator, would need to see the crossover, and then would need to see a 3-day candle close to actually confirm the crossover in place. And the next 3-day candle close, in case you're wondering, happens in close to a day and a half from now, just over 1.5 days from now. And so overall, once again, we've not yet confirmed a bearish crossover, which means overall, technically, we can still remain bullish here, but for now, we are simply seeing a lack in bullish momentum. As I've been saying for a while now on the channel, we are lacking bullish momentum. So not much has changed over the last one day. A lot of people have been commenting that I'm flipping between bullish and bearish, but if you actually listen to what I'm saying in these videos, it's pretty much the same thing each day, because the price is continuing to play out what I've been saying, a lack in bullish momentum, but still technically within a larger bullish trend, just seeing a break from the trend for now, because we've not yet confirmed a trend reversal. And then of course, on the smaller time frames, of course, I'll flip between bullish and bearish much more often, because that's simply the nature of the smaller time frames. As we can see here on the 3-hour time frame, this flips between bullish and bearish pretty much every few days or so. So if you want to basically not flip between bullish and bearish very often, stick to the larger time frames. I've been saying the same thing for a long time. Or if you want to flip between bullish and bearish much more often to have more frequent trading opportunities, then stick to the smaller time frames. But with that being said, on this daily Bitcoin price chart, technically speaking, we have not yet confirmed a bearish trend reversal out of this bullish trend, which is why I'm still in the long position I'll talk about in just a moment. But for now, of course, we're holding above this very important area of support, still sitting in between 101,000 to 102,000. And if the price of Bitcoin were to confirm a break with candle closes below that area of support, in that situation, the next area of support I'll be targeting is sitting at around 96 to 98,000, give or take. And as for resistance, we still have strong resistance at close to 110,000 and also at around 112,000. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 3-hour Bitcoin price chart, we can see that just recently we're now attempting a breakout above this important area of resistance. Of course, this area is sitting in between around 106 to 107,000. And just recently, we did confirm at least one 3-hour candle close just above this area of resistance, above 107,000. And so it's now important for the price of Bitcoin to actually hold this area and flip this into new support. So as I'm recording this video, we're currently retesting this area. And so if we could simply find support in this area now and see a bit of a bounce sometime soon over the next one day or so, then of course this would be bullish price structure, breaking out above key resistance, flipping that into new support. That is price structure heading in the bullish direction. So if we're talking about the immediate short term here, if we see a little bit more confirmation like this, then we'll likely obviously continue the breakout towards the next major points of resistance. First of all, I would expect expect a bit of short-term resistance at around 108,500 to 109,000, but the next significant resistance is at closer towards around 110,000. And so ultimately, those are the next price targets to watch out for to the upside if we can ideally now hold above this key area on the price chart. And as for support, obviously now I would expect support in this area in between around 106 to 107,000, and especially at around 106.2k and also at around 106.7k. Those more specific levels are likely going to act as support. And if we actually break below those levels, in that case, we would expect more support at around 104.7k and major support in between around 103,500 to 104,000. But as the price of Bitcoin is potentially seeing this breakout towards the upside here, we also still have a lot of liquidity building above the price of Bitcoin. As I've said many times recently here on the channel, we have a lot of liquidity, especially around 111,000, give or take, so close towards the all-time high. We have a lot of liquidity around here. And in case you're new to all of this, usually, not always, but usually the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where there's a lot of liquidity. And that's pretty much exactly what we saw around 1 week ago. Obviously, we had a lot of liquidity building at around 107,000. And so as I said on the channel back then, before we saw that bullish move, I said it's very likely we're about to see a bullish move very soon in the short term to take out that liquidity. And obviously, that's exactly what played out. And so considering the fact that most of the liquidity is above the price and not necessarily below the price, of course, we do have some liquidity just below the price, but not really as much as what we have above the price. Considering that, it is quite likely that at some point in the next few days, maybe over the next week, sometime soon in the shorter term, it is quite likely we could come back up towards this liquidity to take out this liquidity at close to all-time highs. But of course, as always, keep in mind these other points of resistance along the way where the price can likely struggle at. So potentially, if the price continues towards this liquidity, also expect some struggle around these levels of resistance as well. But even if that plays out, even if we see a continued bullish move to take out this liquidity, which is a likely scenario in the shorter term, even if that were to happen, of course, we're technically still within a larger sideways consolidation, as we could see. If we're zooming out to the larger timeframes, once again, these timeframes are still telling us that we are lacking bullish momentum on the larger timeframes. So of course, we could see a continued short-term bullish move, but when we're zooming out, looking at the bigger picture, at least for now, we're not really seeing significant amounts of bullish momentum. And so that is still the situation for Bitcoin on these slightly larger timeframes, and that's the situation in the shorter term, what could likely be about to happen and the key levels to watch out for. And if you want to know my exact Bitcoin trading strategy, how to make money in crypto, personally, I'm still long on the price of Bitcoin. As I've been saying every day for the last 2 months now on the channel, I've been saying long Bitcoin since around 88,000, which is when I entered this long position. And then at key points along the way towards the upside, at some key points of resistance here and there. Most recently, it was at 110,000. I did take some profits out of that long position. And obviously, since 110,000, we did see that rejection exactly as predicted. But obviously, I'm still in the long position. I just slightly reduced the size of the trade at each of these key levels of resistance along the way towards the upside. And so overall, once again, I'd only close this position if we actually confirm a bearish trend reversal, because this is a swing trade on the larger trend. And the point where that would potentially reverse from a bullish into a bearish trend is if we break below this key point of support in between 101 to 102,000. And so you can see my stop loss is sitting just below that key point of support, so that it's likely the price would bounce before hitting the stop loss. But if the price does break below that key support, essentially the stop loss will just close the trade automatically at that level in profits in that more potential bearish scenario. But of course, over the last 1 day, I've made really no new changes to this position. My realized profits still roughly the same as they were yesterday. My stop loss still sitting at the same level it was sitting at yesterday as well. And so that is my exact Bitcoin trading strategy, showing very transparently how I'm making money in this crypto market. And of course, if you want to take trades just like this for yourself, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking this trade right here over on 2bit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses. Like for example, up to $50,000 you can actually claim using the link below this video just by trading crypto. But if you're not one of these larger traders here, you can also get a $30 sign up bonus and a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus into your 2bit account, but only if you use that link. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there's also BTNex as another exchange out there that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to BTNex below this video. And if you use that link, you can also get some massive trading bonuses over here as well. Like for example, up to $45,000 in crypto just by trading using the link below this video, and also deposit bonuses. Like for example, if you deposit just $1,000, you also get a $200 bonus over on BTNex. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using the links below this video to take advantage of these massive bonuses. And in case you're wondering, BTNex is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and currently Ethereum is still just bouncing around sideways in a sideways price range between support and resistance. And so we still have significant support at roughly 2.4K, and also a bit of short-term support at roughly around 2480, closer towards 2.5K. And we still have significant resistance in between around 2.7K to 2.8K. And if we're taking a look at this daily Ethereum price chart, technically speaking, the bearish divergence is still currently active because we've not yet confirmed an invalidation signal to invalidate the bearish divergence. Now, if we see a breakout here in the RSI above this descending line of resistance, and especially breaking out above this previous high in the daily Ethereum RSI, then that would be an invalidation signal to invalidate the bearish divergence. But at least for now, we've not yet confirmed that, which means technically the bearish divergence is still active, which means overall we should not necessarily expect a significant amount of bullish momentum. Of course, we can see some short-term bounces here and there, but not necessarily significant momentum towards the upside, at least for now. And so overall, continue to expect a lot of choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcome while the price is in this sideways price range, as I've been saying pretty much every day for almost a month now. And obviously this has been playing out perfectly. And obviously if you're just holding Ethereum, this is very boring price action. But if you're a crypto trader, this is one of the easiest ways to make a lot of money in the crypto market. That is right, you can make a lot of easy passive profits in the crypto market during choppy sideways price action just like this. And if you want to know how to do that, then stick around to the end of this video to find out more. But first, taking a look at Solana on the daily time frame, and currently Solana is bouncing at that very crucial area of support, sitting in between around 143 to 146. So obviously, as I've been saying over the last few days, we have a lot of important support around there. It's very important the price bounces there, because if the price failed to hold that as support, and if we actually confirmed daily candle closes below around 143, in that situation, we could possibly see a drop down towards around 125. But now that the price of Solana is starting to bounce at that key area of support, there's now the strong possibility we could form a double bottom pattern here, also known as a W pattern, but this will only officially confirm with a bullish price target in play once we see a confirmed breakout above this level right here, this level of resistance, which is sitting at approximately 167. And so once again, we need to see confirmed candle closes, at least a daily candle close confirming above 167, and ideally holding that as support. And then in that situation, that will set up a bullish price target based on this W pattern, and that bullish price target will be sitting right into this golden pocket here at around 195. And in case you're wondering, the golden pocket is sitting in between around 191 to almost 200, so that will likely act as resistance. And from the breakout point to that price target, that would be approximately around a 15 to 16% move towards the upside with no leverage, or for example, a 10x leverage long position would be around 150% profit in that example. But once again, I want to make it clear, at least for now, that possible price target and possible double bottom pattern is not confirmed. It is not in play. It will only officially confirm once we actually see a confirmed breakout above this 167 level, which for now will likely act as resistance. But in the immediate short term, we do have a new signal that can help the price of Solana. If we're looking at the 6-hour Solana price chart, we now have a new bullish divergence, which is technically now confirmed with lower lows, only slight lower lows, but lower lows confirmed in the price in the candle closes and higher lows confirmed in the 6-hour Solana RSI. And so as always, this is telling us that we're most likely going to see a bit of a short-term bullish relief, or at the very least some choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes from a bullish divergence. So basically a break from all of the bearish price action. We shouldn't really see a lot of bearish momentum in the shorter term for the next few days. And so that is the current situation for the price of Solana and the key levels to watch out for. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the daily time frame, currently XRP is still lacking momentum to either direction. As I explained in my last video, we're lacking bullish momentum, but also lacking bearish momentum. So we're most likely just going to chop around sideways in a bit of a sideways price range. And obviously over the last few days, that's already what has been playing out. And overall, the sideways price range that we're in is sitting in between this area of support and this area of resistance. First of all, this area of support is sitting in between around $2.05 to $2.10. And this area of resistance is sitting in between roughly $2.31 to $2.36. And there's also a possible head and shoulders pattern here that is forming for the price of XRP, but this would only actually confirm if we see a confirmed break below around $2.05. But overall, honestly, just expect similar price action for XRP as what I've been saying throughout the video for these other cryptos and especially Bitcoin. Of course, if Bitcoin continues this short-term bullish breakout, it's very likely that XRP, along with a lot of the altcoins I've mentioned in this video, will likely continue a little bit more of a short-term bullish relief. But once again, not necessarily a significant amount of bullish momentum, just a bit of a short-term bullish relief, especially if Bitcoin does the same. And so that is the situation for XRP. Obviously, not a lot has changed over the last one day. So getting straight into the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for Chainlink. Once again, as I always say, Chainlink, along with most altcoins, follow very similar price action to what Bitcoin is doing. So with Bitcoin playing out a bit of short-term bullish price action, Chainlink is doing the same. We are bouncing at this key level of support, sitting at around $12.80. And so obviously, as you can see here, we've seen many perfect bounces from this $12.80 level. But if the price actually confirmed a break below $12.80, in that situation, I'd expect more support at around $12.10 to $12.20. But if we failed to hold that as support in that situation, we'd likely see a pullback below $11, likely in between around $10 to $11. And so obviously in the shorter term, it's good news that the price of Chainlink is holding this key level of support at $12.80 as support. And we're now possibly forming a double bottom pattern, as I just said, for the price of Solana on this daily time frame. Once again, we're forming a possible double bottom, also known as a W pattern, but this will only actually confirm as a double bottom pattern if we see a confirmed breakout above this golden pocket, which is really sitting at around 1550 on the top end. And so continue to expect a lot of resistance in between 1490 to 1550, and obviously that's exactly where we rejected from recently at $15.50, as I've been saying since before we saw that perfect rejection. And before we can even make it to that resistance, I'd also expect some short-term resistance at just above $14, around $14.10 to $14.20. And if we're zooming further into the shorter term, taking a look at the 2-hour Chainlink price chart, technically speaking, we have a new bullish divergence to watch out for. Now, we have relatively horizontal lows in the price in the candle closes, but higher lows in the RSI, which is still a form of a bullish divergence because obviously we're not seeing the same type of lows. We're not seeing horizontal lows here and horizontal lows here. So they're still diverging. It's a form of a bullish divergence, but not obviously the traditional bullish divergence where we see lower lows in the price. Right now we have horizontal lows in the price in the candle closes. But either way, this basically means the same thing as a normal bullish divergence. It's just not necessarily as strong as a normal bullish divergence. So ultimately, we should be expecting either a slight bullish relief or perhaps a bit of choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes here, just in the short term over the next 1 or 2 days or so, is the most likely outcome, considering this is only on the 2-hour time frame. And obviously, we saw the outcome of this previous short-term bearish divergence, which I actually warned about here on the channel right here. And so obviously, while this is playing out in the short term, this bullish divergence, this is some good news in the short term for the price of Chainlink. But overall, don't necessarily expect a significant amount of bullish momentum, just potentially a slight bullish relief as the most likely outcome here. And once again, if you want to get set up ready to go to take these trading opportunities in the price of any crypto, like what I'm doing right here, then you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And if you're using those links below this video to those exchanges, you can claim some massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can easily profit in the crypto market, like what I'm doing right now, no matter what direction the price is going, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.